After The Favorite and Widows, we continue this week with yet another great film. This is Shoplifters.
いやほら血が繋がってない方がいいってこともあるじゃん。
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and Shoplifters has a limited theatrical release in the US today. It's a Japanese drama that was written and directed by Hirokazu Koreeda and it won the Palme d'Or at this year's Cannes Film Festival. It's also the official submission of Japan for the Best Foreign Language Film category at the Oscars. And I bet its chances of getting nominated are very high. Shoplifters is a beautifully human film about the question, what makes a family? Something that isn't necessarily all that important is blood relation. And it doesn't take long to understand that the people in this film will care for each other even if they aren't really related. Koreeda tells the story of a group of small-time crooks that all live together under one roof. He introduces us to this world by showing us a typical shoplifting routine that's easily executed by the oldest and the youngest male members of the group. Lady Frankie plays Osamu and Kari Joe plays his supposed son Shota. Soon after they discover the young girl Yuri, who seems to be neglected and maybe even abused. They decide to take her in, even if they are barely able to sustain themselves at the moment. Shoplifters is set in Tokyo and the whole story and character constellation could have easily been done in a more typical social misery porn fashion, where everything is horrible all the time. Life is unfair and miserable, and all of humanity is determined by greed and egotism. Of course, I'm a bit exaggerating, but those movies do exist, and in the wrong hands they are just a chore to watch. Shoplifters is pretty much the opposite. Despite the poverty and harsh surroundings that it portrays, it's able to craft a very warm atmosphere and positive image of the human condition. Though very different in style and story, it reminded me of the anime Tokyo Godfathers in that regard. When you're leaving the cinema after watching Shoplifters, you will have met a group of fascinating and great characters. Besides the ones I already mentioned, there are three other important ones. The older lady Hatsuo, played by Kirin Kiki, and the two younger ones, Nobuyo, played by Sakura Ando, and Aki, played by Mayu Matsuoka. They are all living together in one small home, barely surviving from the old woman's pension and the little money each is making on the side, either by small jobs or shoplifting the necessary goods. We have many different generations under one roof, and one of the things that engages the audience in the film is getting to understand how those people might be related and also how they ended up in this situation. The whole film takes place in the present without any flashbacks, but the small exposition nuggets will make you put together the pieces. It's exactly the right dose of giving the audience what it needs and letting enough in the open for you to fill the blanks yourself. And as I've said, the main theme is family, and maybe it's not the most important thing how everybody's related here. But it's not an all is wonderful happy-go-lucky film either, and the film is able to show real consequences and hard realities as well. And it's also tackling many social issues of today's society. Because it is set in Japan, it of course gives a very distinct cultural insight. Aki, for example, is making money as a sex worker, undressing herself behind tainted glass until one of the men behind it want to spend time with her alone. The man we witnessed could maybe stand for a characteristic lost individual, chronically lonely. Instead of having sex, he's just laying his head on her lap. The feeling of being with someone else is enough in this moment. I'm not sure if the actual sexual intercourse is even part of Aki's job, since Japan has many different manifestations in the sex industry, of which some might be very foreign to Western culture. What I want to address is that the film is of course very specific in some regards, and that's great, because this should always be something to look forward to when you go see a foreign film. Not just to see different people, other ideas, and be part of someone else's life for 2 hours, but also to get a glimpse of different cultures and countries. By default, Shoplifters is able to deliver this, but at the same time it's very universal in its themes, and the need of being loved, being cared for is something we all share. What I loved most about the film was how tender and also open it shows certain things. For example, how Osamu is talking to the boy Shota about the fact that he's slowly becoming a man and how his body will change and react in certain situations. There's also one absolutely wonderful and very spontaneous sex scene. It's not explicit, and actually the film shows what's happening right before it and right after, but it feels very natural and it's sexy and real and also a bit funny. It occurs when it's just the hottest in Tokyo, and as you may know, Japan is a country with a very extreme climate that has both extremes, extreme cold and heat. And Shoplifters let us be part of this patchwork family through the course of pretty much a whole year, I think, and the changing seasons are a nice backdrop for the story. If you're able to see the film and this sounds like something that might appeal to you, I definitely recommend it. So in German I'd say, Shoplifters ist ein zutiefst empathischer, zärtlicher und nuancierter Film über eine Gruppe unterschiedlicher Charaktere, die füreinander da sind und eine wirklich charmante, liebenswerte Familiengemeinschaft bilden. Von der kleinsten bis zur ältesten Rolle sind alle Schauspieler großartig besetzt und unter der behutsamen, zurückhaltenden Regie von Hirokazu Koreeda ist Shoplifters vor allem eins, ein zutiefst menschlicher Film. I give Shoplifters 8 out of 10. It's more like 8.2, but I don't do that.
子供にはね、母親が必要なんですよ。
産んだらみんな母親になるの？
Alright, that's it for today. Like always, comment below and let me know what you think about Shoplifters. My next review will be with Dennis the Bodymeister, and we will be talking about the science fiction Indian movie Anti-Run. And until then, you can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram simply at the Jimmy Cage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.